Most golfers slice the ball, and you just need to know just the way the good Lord put you together and the way your muscles line up. When you get it up here, you're in such a position that all these muscles here, your tricep, your deltoid, your latissimus dorsi here, your trapezius, all these muscles, the stretch on them, the way it happens when you get up here is they want to fire, and what happens is when you fire those, and it's human nature to want to hit the ball hard, it's just we're almost designed to slice the ball. It's like when you play a backhand in tennis. When you haven't played tennis before, you take the tennis racket back. Of course, you pull with all those same muscles, and the ball goes right over the fence off the tennis court. It's just the way it is. What you need to do is learn how to play that cross court, like in tennis. You need to learn to square the club face up, and you need to learn to discover the left side of the range. And that's the name of this little tip: is learning to hit on the left side of the range. What I'm going to talk about now really has a lot to do with impact and how the positions that your hand and elbows are in add impact to be able to square up that face and even turn the club over and draw the ball if you just can't do it the normal way. So slow motion wise, watch what happens. At impact here, if you're coming right down here, this is a neutral position right here. If you keep pulling and nothing happens, do you see what you end up with? So somewhere in here on a normal neutral grip, and I haven't altered the club face because some people are dead shut at the top, like Lee Triveno when he was younger. He would start here, just so you know it, and at the top, watch this, he would take the club back here, and that's where he is, and you see where the club face is if he doesn't change anything? So for him, he doesn't have to do what I'm going to teach you now. But for those of you that grip the club normal, take it to the top, which is still square, by the way. Do you see this? It's still square, the club's still square. Somewhere in here, if you're going to learn to draw the ball without really having a funny gripper, so get in here and something has got to change. You cannot keep pulling and moving, it's just not going to draw. So what you have to do, watch in slow motion what happens with the hand action. Just focus in the hand. You get right here to hip high, elbows on the side, and when you draw it, you come right down here. Watch this area right here. You get right in here, there's just a little it's like that. That's the Hogan move that he didn't really want to talk about. He called it supination. He was talking more on the left hand about that. But that right hand gets in here, and instead of palming up, and a lot of people, they get here and they hit up on it, and you see where the palm is? This is death. This is hit behind it, top it, hit it to the right, add loft, go nowhere type of action, okay? What the pros do is they get in here, and this hand goes back to square, which is on the wall now. It looks like it's over, but it's not. It's on the wall. And if you want to draw the ball, you actually almost have to cover more, and that's put in that position there. So right here, I'm neutral, and then the elbow still stays in tight. This is important. You don't hook it this way. That's a pull hook. You want the elbow to stay in tight, and you get right in here, and that's square. And then if you want to hit the left side of the range, you actually palm down here, elbow still in. And another way of thinking it is this left thumb. I want you to think of this. Your thumb starts at the ball. It doesn't matter what kind of grip you have, that thumb is going to point at the ball. And when you go back, everybody's way over here, and you're coming down here, and boy, this thumb now has got a lot of work to do to get back to that ball when you get down in here. So you got to know that it doesn't keep staying here. If your thumb hangs back here, pointing there, you're going to be a slicer, or a push slicer. You got to know that a lot of the power in golf comes from the thumbs here, and then in just this much time, it goes whoom, and the club moves 5 feet. That's where the pros get all that power you don't see, is because the average amateur gets up here and he comes down here and he goes like this. There's no crossover power, where a lot of pros like a Tiger Woods will get down here real deep, or Hogan Ben Hogan, real here, and then in just one little flash they go whoo, and they get all that crossover power. That's where a lot of the power comes, by taking that thumb, getting it back to square at impact, or if you draw it, making the thumb actually get ahead of the ball at impact, and that's a draw, and then you hit that way, okay? Another way of thinking about it is when you come in here is try to palm up with the left hand. Instead of palming this way, which makes the ball go over that way, is if you come in here and palm up here early, real early, palm this way, the ball's going to draw. You're going to hook the ball. Another way to look at it is what most people do is I pretend there's an arrow going right through my wrist. There's a hole in your wrist here. It points pretty much at the ball, okay? Pointing right at the ball. What most people do is the arrow now, of course, is pointing right here. Somewhere when you get in here, you got to get that arrowhead now to go back to the ball or even lead. And so what you want to do is lead with this part of your wrist and have this part behind. What most of you do is you're leading big time with this part, hang back, which helps square up the club face. Or right at the last minute, you just flip the club like that. And of course, like I said, you're going to hit up on the ball or hit behind it or something from there, and that's not a good way. So watch this. I'm going to try to hit a few of these. I'm going to make that arrow point right at the ball, thumb point at the ball. Come down here, I'm waiting, and then I'm going to hit the left side of the range by almost leading that way. And overdo it at first. Palm it down too much at first. And watch what you do. What I'll do is I'll get right in here. Watch this, right here, here, turn it over. You see, and now you see that ball hooking right at the pin right there, just right on the money. I can overdo it and hit it more that way. Same motion, my elbow's in tight here, and then I'm here, more. And I can just turn it over more. And of course it helps if the club's leaning this way, of course the ball's going to hook more than normal. If you really cross it over, you'll end up with the club way over here. It looks sort of bad, but it does keep the ball going left. And those are all little drills that you can do to make the ball hook. And I tell people in clinics, I get everybody there, hundreds of people sometimes, and I guarantee there isn't one person that I can't, within 1 minute, make them draw the ball or hook the ball. And not a pull hook. Pull hooks don't count. Start the ball where you're aiming just by either covering it up there like this, or get that thought, or sometimes I'll grab the wrist and turn it like that. And by the way, I'm not going to talk about putting in this tape, but this is the way Crenshaw putts, by the way. It's like somebody has a little helper right there, and when he putts here, he leads with this part of the wrist, sort of like Hogan was talking about supinating. And of course, when we putt bad, we do just the opposite. We stop or collapse here, and if anything, this side of the wrist leads. And what Crenshaw does is he leads this way and almost putts a heavy ball, I call it. When he putts, he makes the ball go down. And of course, when you putt this way, palm up, the ball gets light. And so that's my only putting tip, so you just got it.